कोरोना की सेकेंड वेव ने हर तरफ तबाही, मायूसी और डर का माहौल बना रखा है। जेके न्यूज़ टुडे में हमारा ये प्रयास और कोशिश रहती है कि हम एक्सपर्ट्स और डॉक्टर्स से आपको मिलवाते रहें, जो ये डर और मायूसी की जगह आपको हिम्मत दें इस कोरोना से लड़ने की। आज हमारे साथ डॉक्टर M.S खुरू हैं, जो श्रीनगर शेर कश्मीर इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मेडिकल साइंसेज के डायरेक्टर रहे हैं, और डॉक्टर खुरू इंटरनेशनल रिप्यूट के डॉक्टर हैं। हाल ही में जम्मू कश्मीर सरकार ने एक 10 मेंबर कमेटी बनाई थी, जिसमें पॉसिबल थर्ड वेव के साथ टैकल करने का एक एक्शन प्लान बनाना है। डॉक्टर खुरू उसके चेयरमैन हैं। डॉक्टर खुरू, आपका स्वागत है जेके न्यूज़ टुडे में।
Thank you very much for calling me, Binuji, and to join your program. I'll try my best to answer your questions.
It's pleasure meeting you, sir. And can sir ये बता सकेंगे हम को कि सेकेंड वेव में इतनी फेटल जो हुई है, सेकेंड वेव ये क्यों हुई, क्या वजह है इसकी?
बिनुजी, ऐसे है कि जो सेकेंड वेव आई, पहले तो ये जो वेव्स आती हैं, वेव हो गया कि एक सर्ज होता है कि बहुत सारे पेशेंट्स और डेथ होते हैं पीक पर, फिर प्लेटो हो जाता है और फिर कम हो जाती। तो वो तो हो गया था 2020 में। अभी जो सेकेंड वेव आई है, ये क्यों आती है, क्यों वजह से? पहले तो वजह है कि जो वायरस है ये म्यूटेट करता है। ये म्यूटेट इसलिए करता है कि जब बहुत सारे पेशेंट्स में ये रेप्लिकेट होता है तो वायरस म्यूटेट करता है, तो उसकी प्रॉपर्टी है और उसे वेरिएंट बन जाते हैं। तो अभी जो वेव है J&K में और इंडिया में, इसमें दो वेरिएंट आए हैं जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। एक जिसको आप यूके वेरिएंट कहते हैं, हालांकि इट्स नॉट राइट टू कॉल इट विद अ कंट्री, बट इट इज नेम्ड B117 is the lineage name. और दूसरा जो वायरस है वो what we called as double mutant or Indian mutant, but is named as B1617 lineage जो है, जो इंडिया में डिस्कवर हुआ है। तो ये दोनों वेरिएंट्स जब कश्मीर में आ गए, दे हैव अ प्रॉपर्टी, दे हैव इन्फेक्टिविटी उनकी ज्यादा है, ज्यादा फैलते हैं, और थोड़ी पैटर्न ऑफ डिजीज डिफरेंट है। यंग पीपल में ज्यादा डिजीज होती है और थोड़ी मोर सीवियर डिजीज है। अब आप मुझे पूछेंगे कि जम्मू में ये क्यों ज्यादा हुआ और कश्मीर में डेथ्स क्यों कम है। जम्मू में इसलिए ज्यादा डेथ्स है, हालांकि केसेस वहां कम हैं, डेथ्स ज्यादा हुए हैं क्योंकि वहां पर ये म्यूटेंट ज्यादा है, because of adjacent to Punjab and probably because of travel to Vishnu Devi and lot of travel and probably the terrain which is connected with Punjab. ये जो म्यूटेंट, ये कोई 40% म्यूटेंट जो वायरस है अभी, जो मेन वायरस उसको वाइल्ड वायरस कहते हैं, तो ये जो म्यूटेंट वायरस है उनको वेरिएंट कहते हैं। कोई 40% प्रेवलेंस है वेरिएंट्स की जम्मू में। यहाँ कश्मीर में भी है मगर उतनी ज्यादा नहीं है। और थोड़ी सी प्रॉब्लम है जम्मू के हेल्थ केयर में, उतना रॉबस्ट नहीं है जितना कश्मीर में है। डिस्टेंसेस बहुत ज्यादा हैं, so patients don't reach hospital very quickly. So all these factors putting together, variants, then terrain, then robust healthcare, which is slightly different. जम्मू में डेथ्स ज्यादा हो रही हैं बनस्पत कश्मीर के, हालांकि कश्मीर में ज्यादा पेशेंट आए हैं, जम्मू में कम हो रहे हैं मगर डेथ्स ज्यादा हो रहे हैं। तो ये मेरी दिस इज माय ओपिनियन ऑन दैट कि व्हाट इज द सेकंड वेव related to, it's related to variants. And first wave though it caught the elderly people, the second wave will catch young people, and possibility of third wave job, I'm sure you will ask me, that is going to catch a different group of people which I'll talk to.
सर, आपने मेरा एक सवाल तो खुद ही जवाब दे दिया कि जम्मू डिवीज़न में केस ज़्यादा क्यों हुए। सर, एक चीज़ और हम देख रहे हैं कि जो रिकवरी के बाद डेथ्स हो रही हैं उसकी क्या वजूहत हैं?
Corona, it's a very peculiar disease. First thing is, जब ये वायरस होता है अटैच होता है एक रिसेप्टर से, उसको कहते हैं ACE2 रिसेप्टर, वो लंग में होता है, थ्रोट में भी होता है, बाकी लिवर में होता है, पैंक्रियास में, हर जगह होता है, पर मेनली जो ये अटैक करता है लंग के ACE2 रिसेप्टर उसको कहता है। तो लंग में डैमेज होता है, तो लंग में निमोनिया हो जाता है। तो जो निमोनिया वायरस से होता है, पहले तो डेथ इमीडिएटली इन द फर्स्ट फ्यू डेज और फर्स्ट 10 days, the death is because of the virus itself attacking the lung. पर क्या हो जाता है जब ये वायरस बॉडी से निकल जाए, तो ये जो लंग को थोड़ा, लंग की जो एंटीजेनिसिटी है, जो उसकी खासियत है, उसको चेंज करता है, और बॉडी अपने लंग को रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं करता। तो you get what we call as the inflammatory response. The body raises a response against the lung, its own tissue, what you call as storm syndrome. तो ये स्टॉर्म सिंड्रोम है, ये यूजुअली होता है जब वायरस चला जाए और लंग को डैमेज जो होता है, the body then reacts against it and you get a lung damage which is very severe, what we call as a storm syndrome or COVID storm syndrome. So there are two types of deaths. One is related to the virus. Second is what is related post virus, जिसको कहते हैं long COVID syndrome. One of the factors in long COVID is this phenomena of lung damage because of immunity, which is raised by the body against the lung itself, against own tissues. इसको वायरस तो चला जाता है, it has no role to play at that time. It is only that damage the virus has caused to the lung that you get a damage. So I thought I am clear about why you get these two, why people die, because after the virus is gone. वो कहते हैं मेरा RT-PCR नेगेटिव है, मैं अब घर जाऊंगा ICU से. Then some of the unfortunate people get this storm syndrome and go to the ICU, and some of them don't come out.
सर, जहाँ तक मुझे समझ आया, ये कहेंगे कि लंग में जो चेंजेस आती हैं, हमारी बॉडी ही उसको एक्सेप्ट नहीं करती है और उसके अगेंस्ट बना देते हैं एंटीबॉडीज.
That is the storm syndrome. That's right. और उसके लिए आप जो ये ब्लड टेस्ट करते हैं, IL-6 and all those CRP, जो lot of tests we do an IL-6 comprehensive profile. It's only to understand कि कितना बॉडी रिएक्ट करेगा अगेंस्ट इट्स ओन टिश्यूज.
डॉक्टर साहब, ये सेकेंड वेव चलेगी कब तक? पहली वेव तो हमें दिसंबर 2020 के एंड तक खत्म हो गई थी, ये कब तक है?
All these pandemics and epidemics have a particular pattern. Unfortunately, many people did not understand it. Pattern हर एक pandemic का ऐसे होता है कि the cases come up and steep up. Now, how much what will be the steep will depends upon many factors. जैसे 2020 में steep थोड़ा, it was gradual. But इस वक्त जो steep आया, it is very, very acute. It just jumped up from few thousand to 400,000, like 4 lakh cases in India. And in local, it jumped from about maybe 100 to about 5,000 or 6,000 in about 10 days to 2 weeks, which is very, very steep. Then every epidemic goes onto a summit. That is what we call as plateau. It will reach, and that is where we are now, that the cases stay stable. They are now around 4,000, 3,500, 4,500, and deaths are about 40, 50, 60. They will stay for some time. Then over a period of time, which is determined by many factors, which could go for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the cases start coming down. So invariably, the cases will come down, but nobody can say at what duration they will come. It will depend upon many factors. जैसे lockdown से तो immediately फर्क हुआ. I recommended a short lockdown, what we call as taming the beast. ये जो इसका जो जलाल था, इसको कम करने के लिए. That is why I recommended so that the cases थोड़े, otherwise they would have gone to 10,000 and would have gone, deaths could have gone very high. But we tamed it, so that is the first. thing is, what is the involvement of the public? Will they use appropriate measures to prevent infection? That is the second thing. Third thing is the effect of vaccines, how much we use the vaccines. So these three factors, the lockdown, the COVID appropriate behavior, and the use of vaccines will determine ये जो Pluto है अब ये कितनी देर रहेगा. I suspect it will stay for about a week to 10 days because the lockdown was there. Lockdown has an immediate effect. Then they will start coming down and then they will reach a baseline. So we pray that within 2 weeks or a week, the cases have started coming down, but they should come down much faster and we'll get a relief from this. Yes, वबा से हमको बला we'll get a relief from this.
सर, अगर जहां अब जिस कमेटी को आप चेयर कर रहे हैं उसकी बात करें तो क्या थर्ड वेव आएगी? आना ज़रूरी है इसका, जो पैंडमिक का पैटर्न है उसको देखते?
थर्ड वेव, whether it is a fact or a fiction, हम कल यही मैं उनको there are 10 very highly esteemed members who were with me. I was telling them about this concept of fact or a fiction. कि लोग कहते हैं वो क्या बकवास कर रहे हो आप, कहाँ से थर्ड वेव, अभी तो सेकंड वेव है. But each of these viruses, they have a property, they will come again and again. I'll tell you why they will come again and again. I think hepatitis E का जो epidemic मैंने when I discovered hepatitis E, when it came up in 78, 79, लोग कहें 600 लोग मर गए उसमें, 20,000 people got infected within 6 weeks. तो लोगों ने कहा हमारे now we got a relief. It came back in 80, it came back in 81. We got 11 waves. 11 waves I have faced of hepatitis E. अगर आप if you take the Spanish flu, there are so many waves. And if you take up this corona, there are already 3-4 waves which have come up in other countries, in US, in UK, and also in many states in India. So there is no doubt that the virus, it is its property to come up and infect people in waves. अब आप बताएंगे कि हमारी wave आएगी या ना आएगी. It will be determined by 4 factors. पहले फैक्टर है कि हम वायरस का वेरिएंट न बनने दें. ये जो वायरस बनता है वेरिएंट, ये उसी से बनता है. ये गलतियां करता है जब ये रेप्लिकेट होता है. रेप्लिकेट मींस it grows. Once it grows into a body, it makes mistakes, and so that's how you get variants. So if our infection rate is less, we will not get a new variant. अभी तो 4 वेरिएंट वर्ल्ड में हैं, 2 हमारे हिंदुस्तान में हैं, तो बाकी जगह और 2 हैं, साउथ अफ्रीकन as well as Brazil, although they have not been here. But we might get new variants if we allow infections to continue. That's number 1. So our basic job would be that we don't let the variants come. So we should reduce the infections. And अगर एक जगह variant हुआ, जैसे यूके में, जैसे ब्राजील में, don't allow to come to India. और अगर इंडिया में एक जगह हुआ, like it came in Assam, let it not come to Kashmir. और या कश्मीर में हुआ, let it not go to Jammu. So travel advisory is very important to contain the, that is why people are using strict travel advisory. And New Zealand did it beautifully. There are lots of countries did it beautifully. We could not succeed in that, unfortunately. दूसरी बात है, जब ये वेरिएंट होगा, it will not come in the same population जैसे पहली वेव आई. पहली वेव आई वो it came in elderly people, diabetics, hypertensive. लोग कह रहे थे कि आप anybody diabetic he dies, or somebody उसका जो comorbid disease है. अब जो ये वेव है, it is coming in young people in 35, 40, 50, they are dying and they are healthy, they are dying. Now the third wave will neither come in elderly nor come in young people. It will come in a different group of people, and I will tell you those. You might get scared. It will either come in children, school children, so it will be very unfortunate. The problem is they are not vaccinated. उनको vaccine भी allowed नहीं है. Number 1. It might come in pregnant women. That is the second thing. It might hit all pregnant women. जैसे hepatitis E का जब वो आता था, it would sweep all pregnant women and kill all pregnant women in the villages. So we have to be careful about our mothers. Or it might come in far-flung areas like Titwal and Punch, or you might say Katwa or Badrawa. It will not come in Srinagar and Jammu or Baramulla and let's say Udhampur. It will come in far-flung. So we feel there are three, that the virus could attack three groups of people. It could attack pregnant women, it could attack children, or it could attack villagers and far-flung people. So this is how the third wave comes, and how to prevent it. First thing is, don't let the virus to mutate, and if there is a mutation somewhere, don't let it come to the J&K. So we travel restrictions should happen if there is from an area where there's a mutant. Second thing is vaccinate people so that infections get reduced. And third is make very strict COVID appropriate behavior. If these three things we succeed, third wave is a fiction. If we fail in any of them, it is a fact. So you can say what is a fact and what is a fiction.
सर अगर ये फैक्ट हुआ तो कितना फेटल होगा?
All next waves, generally in corona, although in other diseases there is a different phenomena. The next wave can be less severe or more severe, depending upon the population which is involved. But generally, corona में हमने देखा कि जो variants हैं, they have property of increased transmission, and they are more we call immune evasion. That means आपने वैक्सीन किया फिर भी आपको इन्फेक्शन होगी, और आपको पहली बार कोरोना हुआ दूसरी बार भी होगा. It's called immune evasion, and it may be more severe, like second wave is more severe. So if the next virus has the same property, it will unfortunately kill more. But we may be lucky that it may not be so as bad as this variant in the we have now. So it is a very dynamic process, but it could be severe, it could be same as first or second wave, or it could be less. So it's going to be very many factors will be involved in that.
So lastly, did we learn lessons from first wave to tackle the second wave? We have proper infrastructure in place, or there was some problem in dealing with it?
At least I can speak for J&K. I can speak for J&K. In J&K, we learned lessons, and we learned lessons for a betterment. In the first wave, what we knew that we have to do several things. First thing is involve public, whatever it is, at least educate public, give them information, which was very important, because misinformation and fake information was moving through the society. So we give them correct information. Second is we expanded the services, and there's no doubt जो कोरोना बेड हो गए वो expand हो गए, and we can expand it as the disease becomes more. जैसे institute में we may have had in about January, I would say we had about 20 or 30 beds or 50 beds for corona. Now we have 300 patients admitted in institute, and they will expand it to 500. Now this was all because we learned lessons from the first wave, that is for the second wave. And similar things in SMHS, CD hospitals, SMG hospital, and other places like district hospitals and medical college, we can expand the services. Manpower got trained. We trained manpower, particularly to deal with corona. We kept drugs available, and most of the drugs were free. And then very important is we really understood how the infection comes. So we let people see how they can prevent infections. And we also use the lockdowns appropriately. So these were all lessons from the second wave, which at least in J&K and most important is, I forgot to tell you, we have not got short of oxygen. So that is something, and people have not died because there was no oxygen. Oxygen band ho gaya. And if you see in Delhi and Bombay, and unfortunately in so many cities, they were not ready for a onslaught like that. They didn't have oxygen. And here we expanded our oxygen plants in few days in skims and in also in SMHS and also in in Jammu. We expanded the oxygen so that because oxygen is life saving, and so we at least J&K we have had no complaint from that point, and drugs also no complaint. Otherwise, remdesivir. People are going in Delhi for days and days trying to find an injection. यहाँ पर तो अस्पताल में available है, and they don't get short of it. And even people have oxygen at their home also. There are so many, these NGOs who supply oxygen into the homes also, and they played a wonderful part in serving the public. And I think we should support them.
And sir, should not we be banning the gathering? जितनी बड़ी gathering शादियां वगैरह हो रही हैं, उनको बंद नहीं करना चाहिए क्या?
About the COVID appropriate behavior, I will submit to you that we learned a lesson from this epidemic, that is the second wave, कि ये जो wave आई, इसमें थोड़ी सी change hogi from the spread of the first wave. And I had actually already put a film on that. That was for the first wave, कि ये COVID spread होता कैसे है. People said it spreads by droplet. जैसे मैं आपसे बात कर रहा हूँ, I am talking, जो मेरी थूक है, if you are within 6 feet, you will get it on your face and nose and eyes, you will get infection. This is called a droplet infection. So we said we should have, distance should be more than 6 feet. So that मैं बात करूं, ये थूक मेरी आपके मुंह पर और आपके आंखों पर या nose पर नहीं आएगी. That was the lesson which was being told us from onwards. But the airborne spread, what is called aerosol spread, we had not stressed. Now we know that this disease spreads aerosol. कि जब मैं बात करूंगा, छोटे छोटे droplets मेरे हवा में जाते हैं. And if there is a closed room and the windows and doors are closed, उस कमरे में ये वायरस बहता रहेगा कोई 2-3 घंटे. और अगर आप उस कमरे में जाएंगे, whether you have a mask or you have no mask, you will get the infection. So masks will protect only from droplet infection. They will not protect aerosol infection. The only solution for that is that you don't make crowds. Wherever there's a crowd, even if you go with a mask, you will not get protected. So that is, people say कि मैं शादी में गया, मैंने जी मास्क लगाई, N95 मास्क थी, फिर भी मुझे इन्फेक्शन हो गई. ये क्या बकवास आप कर रहे हैं? But that's what will happen because you were in a closed room. The virus was moving in the air, and it will go when you breathe air. It will go through N95. अगर आप एक मास्क लगाएं, 2 मास्क लगाएं या 3 मास्क लगाएं, ये अंदर जाने वाला है. So it's not going to protect you. And second thing we learned that ये जो infection spread होगी, it went into the houses. पहले कह रहे थे हम कि घर में बैठो. Now, अगर आप किसी दोस्त को अब बात करेंगे कि आपको कोरोना हुआ, किसको हुआ? मेरी बेगम को हुआ, मेरे बच्चे को हुआ, मेरे बाप को हुआ, मेरी माँ को हुआ. Everybody in the house got infected. So spread happened within the houses. So we tell people stay within the house, but वही spread होती है. So we have to give, and now we are coming up with the new guidelines. Crowds of any nature should be avoided. When you make a crowd in an open air, it's not as bad because the air currents come and the virus will go away. But when you make crowds within closed rooms, it will spread. And second thing is, we have to do what's called a reverse quarantine. कि जब बूढ़ों और लोगों को बचाने के लिए, we have to use masks within the houses also to protect each other if somebody gets infected. So these are things which we have learned from the changing epidemiology and spread of this infection.
Sir, thank you so much. Though you are chairing in the committee to prevent third wave, I hope it doesn't come. And thank you so much.
Inshallah, it doesn't come,
Yeah.
and we pray that it doesn't come. And God forbid if it comes, it doesn't. It is not as bad as the first and the second wave. So that is what we'll pray. And we'll also. You are in Jammu. My good wishes to all Jammu people, and I hope they are facing a slight more difficult time than Srinagar, but we pray that everything goes well with all of them.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.